Good day, everyone. Welcome to Vivid's webinar, actually the first webinar for the HP Software Education Special Interest Group. Today's presentation is titled Casting a Light on HP Training and Certifications. Next slide. My name is Mark Herbert. I am a member of the Vivid Board of Directors. I'm the Education Chair, and I'm also the leader of the Special Interest Group for HP Software Education, as well as the chapter leader here in Arizona where I live. Next. And I'm very pleased, folks, to have with us today our presenter, Bob Cruz, President of Checkpoint Technologies. And Checkpoint Technologies is an authorized HP training partner. Bob is also one of the co-leaders of the Vivid chapter in Florida. And Bob also has been working in and around the HP software solutions going back to 1998 or 99 when he started as a consultant in what was then Mercury Interactive Technologies, and worked hard there, became a partner in that company, and then had since branched out on his own and has his own organization, and they're one of the top partner companies for HP software today. So it's really a treat to have Bob with us, and we're looking forward to a good presentation. Next slide.
Thank you, Mark, for that introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. Just a couple of things, folks, to go over before we turn it over to Bob. The session is being recorded, so it will be available later for rebroadcast for Vivid members going to the Vivid website. And there is an opportunity to post questions. There is a questions pane, and actually, Bob, if we advance one slide, they'll see a little picture of it that can also help. So during the presentation, folks, go ahead and feel free to enter your questions that you might have, and towards the end we'll have a little Q&A session and go over as many of those as we possibly can, and what we don't answer at that time we'll follow up with after the fact and get the rest of those answered. That all being said, it's my pleasure again to introduce and welcome Bob Cruz, who is going to talk to us about HP training and software training and certifications. Bob?
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate the introduction, and I really want to thank everybody for joining us today on the call. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be located. I understand that this webinar is being presented globally. And I truly want to go back to what Mark mentioned. Please feel free to ask any questions that you'd like. If we're not able to get to them at the end of the session, then we will do our very, very best to respond to all of you on the questions, because there is a lot of information. As a matter of fact, there's so much information that I cannot possibly provide you all of the information. So my goal is to cast the light on where you can locate the information in regard to HP software training and HP software certifications. So I'm going to dive right in, and the first thing we're going to start with is training on the HP software solutions. And I want to discuss the different options that you all have available to you to receive training on the HP software solutions. And that would be directly from HP Software Education, as well as from HP Software Authorized Training Partners. As Mark mentioned, I'm president of Checkpoint Technologies, and I'm very proud to say that we are an HP Authorized Training Partner. And I've actually been a certified instructor since August of 1998, so it's been a long time. I actually got certified in the solutions back in the days of WinRunner 4.0 and Test Director 4.0, back when it was a client-server application. So in regard to the training that you can receive from HP Software Education, at this point, before we dive right in, I believe we have some polling questions, right, Mark?
Yes, actually, Bob, you're exactly right. Let's see some of those polling questions. And folks, forgive me, I didn't mention this earlier, but throughout this presentation, we do have a couple spots where there are some polling questions. So definitely jump in and answer these. We'll have 2 questions here and then a couple more later on in the presentation. The first one here, I have visited the HP Software Education website. And then there's obviously 2 answers here, yes or no. So go ahead, folks, take a couple of minutes and respond to those so we can get a sense of how many of you have checked out the HP Education website. All right. And then I think there was, well, here's the results of that, folks. We have 73% of the audience has, in fact, seen the HP Education website, and 27% have not as of yet, but surely will after hearing Bob's presentation. So I think we have one more question here for you at this point. I have taken HP training in, there's 4 different options here to respond. At least one of the HP application solutions, such as QTP, ALM/QC, LoadRunner, etc. Another option to respond is at least one of HP Ops solutions, like BAC, BSM, NNM, and so forth. There's a third choice here for other, if the technology in question is not listed above, or choice number 4, I have not taken any HP training up until this point. So go ahead, folks, take a couple of seconds here and respond to these, and then we'll take a look at the results. All right. So the way it breaks down is this. We have 43% is the leading result under the HP Apps solutions, which would be, again, QTP, ALM, Quality Center, LoadRunner, and those types of tools. The second runner up to that is 39%. I have not taken any HP training. Third would be under the operations side, HP Ops at 13%, BAC, BSM, and so forth. And then last is other, some other solution or training from HP that was not listed above at 4%. Thanks, folks, for responding to those. Back to you, Bob.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. And everybody, I really want to appreciate your participation in the polling questions. It just more or less gives me an idea of the areas that all of you in the group focus on. So in regard to the HP Software Education website, you'll see I've listed the URL. Fantastic website to find information. So I'm going to lay that out for you and share where you can get some information on that. You'll notice that when you go to the HP Education website, there is a login. You don't have to worry about that. That login is for HE employees and for authorized training partners to access different information that, to be honest with you, most of you interested in scheduling or receiving training, you don't need that information. On the website, you can get info for HP software on training, certifications, which we'll be discussing more shortly, and other news such as offers, events, news, as well as recent course releases. So that's something that you may want to be checking the website for. So when you go to the HP Software Education website, you'll notice that I've displayed an image here on this particular slide, and I've circled the area where in the column on the left of the home page, you will see links for training by product, training by location, training by type, and on-site training. And I'm going to go through each of these. So the training by product, when you select that link, you'll navigate to a page and you'll have two tabs. One is the listed by product category. So you will see different boxes, one for application lifecycle management QC, IT strategy planning and governance, operations management, software as a service or SaaS, consulting education and support, information management, and security intelligence and risk management. So if you select any of those boxes, within those boxes, you will see the available training courses specific to that product category. On the other tab, you will see listed alphabetically all of the courses by product name. And one of the things that you'll notice is there are a lot of training courses. There's actually a little bit over 50 at last count, and HP is always revising those, adding courses, etc. On the training by location, when you select that link from the home page, you'll then go and you will see the different locations where you can obtain training grouped and categorized as virtual. So if you want to get some virtual training, obviously no travel required. Western U.S., Central U.S., Southeast, Northeast, Canada, and Latin America. And when you select any of those specific geographic areas, you'll notice that your training options include both HP locations as well as HP authorized training partner locations. So for those authorized training partners such as Checkpoint Technologies that have a public training center, you'll be able to see where you can go to their training facility in order to obtain HP training. The training by type. So in that particular tab, you can go to that, and basically what that tab does is it provides definitions of all of the different types of training, and it will show you an icon representing that specific type of training. And that icon is meant for reference. So then when you go into the other tabs and you look at the training, you'll see whether or not it's virtual instructor-led training, public training, etc. The different types of training that are available to you. You've got virtual instructor-led training, or VILT. So that is real-time structured training led by an instructor provided remotely. There's public training, so classroom training provided at an HP authorized training partner's public training facility or HP's training facility for that matter. There's on-site training. On-site training is classroom training that's delivered on-site at your location. There's an icon and more detailed definition for the online self-paced training. So online self-paced training is guided lectures, demos, interactive quizzes, and you access that training via the HP education environment. And then there is ART. So ART-based training, ART, that acronym stands for Adoption Readiness Tool Suite. Fantastic for large enterprise organizations. It involves HP-developed content which is customizable. So HP will actually train you on how to customize that on your own, or you can bring in HP or an authorized training partner to customize that for you. With ART, you, the customer, own the training materials and you install it in your location. There is also technical training on demand, TTO, very similar to online self-paced training, but that can be customized based on your implementation, and it's implemented in your environment. And then when you select on-site training, the definition for that is, as I mentioned, real-time instructor-led classroom training provided at your location. So perhaps you have 5, 6, 7 individuals that you would like trained, and you realize it would be more cost-effective to bring the instructor to your organization. When you go to the link for on-site training, you will see a request form specifically for standard training or customized training. So standard training is, naturally the training materials as HP has published them, and in customized training, you can submit a request form and you'll be contacted so that the level of customizations you need can be scoped and identified. So those are the different types of training you've got available to you. Now, the other option that you all have in regard to getting excellent training on the HP software solutions involves the HP Authorized Training Partners. I've been in this business now for 16 years. So I can honestly tell you that I do strongly recommend that you use only HP Authorized Training Partners. They have the experience. They're certified by HP. We really do, as an authorized training partner, we as a company, as well as our instructors and engineers, must get certified by HP. So we are very carefully vetted by HP software, and they do keep track of our progress and our successes. Another advantage, another great thing with partners is, if you ever wanted to give a partner a call and identify, perhaps you're not quite sure on what type of training you need. You're not sure if you need the intro, the advanced, somewhere in between, or something even more advanced. That's something that a partner can really help you identify. The partners also can provide the HP published training materials, so we certainly have access to those when training is scheduled. The training materials are not sold individually. They come as a package as part of the delivery of the training. Also with a partner, you can customize the training format. So notice I didn't say the materials. That's another story, and that's a different discussion. But in regard to the training format, we will often tweak, if you will, the format of our training. So some customers might say, and I'll use ALM Quality Center as an example, they might indicate, all of our users have significant expertise in using the defect module. You don't need to emphasize that as much. What I'd rather you do is focus more and add to the training on the section for reporting and graphs. So that's something that an authorized training partner can typically do. The HP Authorized Training Partners that are currently listed on the HP Software Education website include Checkpoint Technologies, TCT Computing, Sky IT Group, RTTS, and First Contact Consulting, all excellent authorized training partners. So now I'd like to discuss and share with you on the certifications. And, one of the most common questions that I get asked on certifications is it truly beneficial getting certified? And my answer to all of you is, without a doubt, it truly is. And the thing, here at Checkpoint Technologies, we have all of our engineers go through the certification process. Because the fact that you're certified is wonderful. It's a great thing. But what the true benefit is in the process of preparing for the certification. It will make you a more knowledgeable test engineer and expert in regard to the HP software solutions. So at this point, we have a couple of other polling questions, I believe, Mark.
Yes, Bob, we do. Okay, so we have a couple more polling questions, folks. We'll go through those. And just a friendly reminder before the polling questions, if you have questions for the Q&A session at the end of the presentation, go ahead and enter those into that questions frame on your control panel as we go also. But as far as the first polling question we have in this section of the presentation, I have taken an ATP/AIS exam for, and your choices are the HP Apps Solutions, again, Quick Test Professional, ALM, Load Runner, or another choice here, the HP Ops Solutions, like BAC or BSM and so forth. Other, in the event that you have one of the certifications or taken the exams in another solution not listed above. And lastly, I have not taken an ATP/AIS exam. Go ahead and please respond to those, and then we'll take a look over the results. All right. So what we have here, folks, 65% of the audience have not taken an ATP/AIS exam. 22% of the audience have taken those exams in the HP Apps Solutions, such as Quick Test Professional and ALM Load Runner and those types of products. And then there's a tie between 6%, both of these at 6%, the HP Ops Solution folks that have taken those exams, and then some other HP solution that you've taken the ATP/AIS exam for. All right, great. Good feedback, folks. Thank you. And then we have one more here for you, polling question. I hold a current ASE certification for, and then there's 4 choices here. Again, Apps Solutions, Quick Test, Load Runner, ALM, the HP Ops Solutions like BAC, BSM, Other, in the event that you have your ASE in another HP solution, or the last choice there, I have not taken an ATP, or I think that's left over, an ASE certification exam is actually for the 4th one there. So go ahead and respond to those folks, and we'll get a feel for where people are at with some of these ASE accredited system engineer certifications. All right. So the leader for the results here, 74% have not taken an ASE exam. The next closest response to that was 17% of the audience has taken an ASE exam in one of the HP Apps Solutions. And then there's a split 4% tie for the folks that have taken the operations ASE exams, and then the choice of some other HP software solution that they've taken their ASE exam for and certification for. Great. Thank you, everybody, for your feedback there. Back to you, Bob.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. And again, thank you, everybody, for participating in the polling questions. One of the things I'm sure all of you would agree that have taken the ASE exam is that it really is, once you pass that, it's an accomplishment. It's something to be proud of. It definitely is a well-respected certification throughout the industry. And at last count, and it was actually just yesterday that I double-checked, there are 23 different HP software certifications available to you. So information on the certifications, you can also obtain information on all of the on the program itself and the different exams and the policy on the HP Education website. I've displayed on the screen now the URL for you once again. When you go to that page, you'll notice, again, on the left column of menus, down at the lower left, an area for certifications, and you'll see a link for the ASE program. Now, don't let that title fool you. It does also provide information on the ATP testing program as well, a link for ASE exams, and the exam policy. There's also, when you go into, you'll notice on that page for certifications that there's actually a link provided, and this is very beneficial, to research if an upgrade path is available to you if you hold an ASE certification for a previous version. Definitely worth your time and effort to look into that. It might end up saving you a lot of time, because you might not need to take the whole full ASE certification exam. There may be other options available to you in order to, so that you can upgrade your certification. So first I want to talk about the ASE program link. So when you go there, it does explain the fact that HP software ASE certifications are official Expert 1 credentials. So Expert 1 is the organization within HP that is all about enablement. I mean, HP certainly understands that it's key that users are successful with their software. And that's what Expert 1, that's one of the many things they are devoted to. Grades also, just to let you know, because I can tell you I've been offered many a steak dinner if I would be more lenient on grading of exams, and I'm telling you now that authorized training partners do not grade the exams. The grades are determined by HP software and HP software only. ASE, that acronym, that stands for Accredited Solutions Expert. ATP, that acronym stands for Accredited Technical Professional. So on the ATP program, that is viewed by individuals and by HP as a step to the ASE, the Accredited Solutions Engineer. Remember, the Accredited Solutions Engineer. Remember that that is the ultimate goal. That gives you almost a master level type of certification or expertise. So the ATP is a foundation level credential aimed at technical users and professionals with about 3 months of experience or equivalent training. And when it says 3 months, it's talking about 3 months of solid experience or equivalent training. So the idea is that you are utilizing the solution in which you want to take the ATP exam, and you've been utilizing that solution full-time for at least 3 months. You've encountered some real-world issues. The ATP, that used to be referred to as the AIS, or Accredited Integration Specialist exam, and they changed that back in November 1 of 2011. ATP exams are multiple choice tests that are administered worldwide at Pearson VUE testing centers. So again, when you go into HP Education, you will be able to find out where, at what locations of Pearson VUE the ATP exams are available. It is a prerequisite to have passed the ATP for the specific solution before taking ASE in that same solution. So again, the ATP test exam, it is an excellent stepping stone and helps prepare you. The ASE program, that is the advanced level credential. You should have at least 1 year of strong experience with the software solution or equivalent training. I have seen individuals pass it with less, but I can honestly tell you that they made a significant effort. They devoted a lot of time to studying and preparing, and in the real world they were exposed to a number of different scenarios and environments utilizing the solution in which they were taking the ASE certification. The ASE exam, it is a 3-hour proctored performance-based exam. So in that exam, Those are conducted or proctored at HP facilities as well as select authorized training partners. So we've actually had a number of proctored exams at our location in Tampa, Florida. During those exams, you work with the software, you perform some hands-on activities which are graded and evaluated, and there are also multiple choice questions. And a lot of the multiple choice questions, not all of them, but a lot of them are based on you successfully being able to perform the hands-on activity. And as I mentioned, these are administered worldwide only at HP software facilities and select HP software authorized training partners. So when you're going to get started, the first thing you want to make sure that you do is get your HP Learner ID. That is critical and required in order to register and obtain any kind of an HP certification or take an HP exam for that matter. You don't have to have it, by the way, to take any of the training, but you do need it for the exams. The HP Learner ID, it is a unique identification within the Expert One certified community. It does take at least 5 business days to obtain your Learner ID. So you want to make sure that you get your Learner's ID early in the planning process. And in just a moment, I'm going to share with you some of the initial steps from the Expert One Get Started guide. I'm not going to share all of them, but I'll share a few of the steps, just enough to get you started. Once you've got your Learner ID, then you want to achieve, take and pass the prerequisite ATP level certification. Once you've done that, then you're ready to start preparing and to take the ASE level certification. So to get the HP Learner ID, and again, these are not all the steps, but enough to get you going, go to the HP Expert One homepage, and you'll see the URL on your screen now, www.hp.com/expert1. On that page, you'll click the Get Started tab. On the Get Started page, click Get Started for Customers, and then click Visit My Expert One to register for the Expert One program link. And on the sign-in page, you're going to click the Register for HP Passport Account link just below the sign-in button, and then you'll be given specific detailed instructions to register for an HP Passport user ID. And then once you get that Learner ID, again, you're going to be ready to register and take the ATP exam. So also on HP Education, again on the lower left, we just talked about the ASE program in general. So for the ASE exams, when you click on that, that will enable you to search for certification exams. From the HP Education site, when you click on the ASE exams left menu, you're going to navigate to the page with all of the exams listed. If you know the name of your exam, they're listed by numerical order, by exam code. If you know that, or if you know the name, it's not all that difficult to scan through it. But the other option that you can do is there's a paragraph near the bottom, and there's a Visit Expert One Certification Explorer site link. And if you click on that, you'll be then taken to a page. You can narrow your search. You want to select Career Professional, because there are some, that specifies you as a customer. So it will narrow the search down, and then you'll get an option to an edit field where you can enter in key phrases so you can search certification exams. So if you wanted to go in and see what exams were available for, just for Load Runner or for Quality Center, etc., that will allow you to do that. So some tips on the certifications. I mean, absolutely pay attention to the prerequisites. The ATP test by itself, as I mentioned before, as with any exam or test, it helps just to prepare. And it will, not only will it help your career, but obviously taking the ATP helps you prepare for taking the ASE exam, but you would want to give yourself a few months in between unless you've already had a couple of years experience with the specific solution. You absolutely want to make sure that you study and study hard. On the HP education site in the certification area, there are some study guides with a few tips. So make sure you download those, look at those. The other thing I strongly recommend is seek guidance from those who have passed. They can share with you, first off, the exams are constantly changing and very dynamic. So I've been in situations where 5 engineers have taken the load runner ASE exam at the same time. All 5 of them had completely different questions, different activities. But what you can do, what they do have in common is, that they focus on specific areas: installation, upgrades, environments, load runner, certain select protocols, things along that line. Same with Quick Test Professional. So find those that have passed, get a few tips from them, find out what areas they would recommend that you really try to focus. As I also mentioned, feel great when you pass. It's an excellent exam. As president of Checkpoint Technologies, I'm also an employer. And I can tell you that when I have individuals that apply with our organization, all things being equal, when one of those individuals has the certification and the other does not, I'm going to lean heavily towards the individual that has the certification. That shows a strong degree of commitment and effort that I as an employer have to respect. If you have any questions on HP certifications, on the HP Software Education website, you will see some email addresses that you can contact specific to if you're in North America, whether or not you're in Europe, Middle East, or Asia, or Atlantic Pacific, Japan. So depending upon those. But again, please feel free to send me an email anytime. I do end this with my email address if there are any specific questions. But again, we're going to have a Q&A period in just a moment as well. On the exam policy, that's the other link for under certifications. So when you go to exam policy, that link will provide the full certification policy, class preparation, what to bring to class. Wearing Speedos to class is frowned upon. Don't do that. The exam regulations, as well as the cancellation policy. So again, in preparing for all of this, please perform your due diligence and take a look at the exam policy on the HP Software Education website. So thank you again, but now at this point in time, let's open it up to some questions. And if they're in regard to specific certifications or courses, I might not have the information for you, but I promise you I will do my best to get the answers for you and get back to you through the Vivid organization.
Great.
So Mark, any questions?
Yes, we do have some questions here, Bob, and you folks, we still have some time, so if you have others as I start to go through these, feel free to keep sending them in. But thanks, Bob, for all this. This is a lot of great information. Let's see. The first one I have here is, and I'm not sure, this is kind of specific. We may or may not have the answer on this one. what if you have the E approved from Genalogics? Do you need to get the training from Genalogics/Avnet? I don't know if you know anything about that, Bob. I'm familiar with Avnet/Genalogics, but what their E approved package means and what the limitations are on that, I don't know if we know the answer to that one or not.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that would be training that would not be available directly from HP Education or on their website. You would definitely want to contact them directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of our friends, I'm assuming over in Europe, has asked, what about certified training partners in Europe? I don't know if you've got any familiarity with some of those, Bob, or a place to point this individual in a direction of finding that information out?
That is an excellent question. Thank you for that question. I honestly do not know of any authorized training partners located in Europe. I'm not saying there are not any, but I can tell you they're not displayed on the HP Education website. I will be more than happy to do some research, but I can tell you that a lot of the training partners, so Checkpoint Technologies, as well as some of the others, we'll be more than happy to head over to Europe. We've done it before. And then if it's more cost effective, we've also a number of times have provided virtual training and accommodated the time zone that our European customer was located. But I will research to see if I can find out if there are any located over in Europe.
Excellent. Question here, how often does one need to renew or update their certs once obtained?
Another great question, and that varies and is entirely based upon HP software. And what it's based upon with them is obviously how frequently they would put out what they might consider a major release or upgrade to a solution. So for example, right now there's, there was ALM in Quality Center version 11. 11.5 is out. I've not seen any indication there's going to be a new exam, ASE exam required for that. So a lot of it just depends on how many changes and enhancements there are in the new version and the level of frequency in which HP releases the upgrade. And it seems to average about every year, every 18 to 24 months, though, seems to be a bit of an average.
Great. Actually, I'll go back to the audience questions here in a moment, but one popped into mind for myself, Bob, as you were mentioning that. In your experience, what's the, I guess I'll call it lag time, if there is any, between a technology being released and the HP Education and the Expert One folks following up with new content? And you can use the example of, you mentioned it yourself, when they put ALM 11.5 out back late last year, or after Discover in June. How soon did you start to see the training materials to support those versions of the tools come following behind?
Good question, Mark. So on the training materials, typically it's about 2 to 3 months that it might follow the official release of the solution. And keep in mind, it usually takes 2 or 3 months before customers start actually obtaining and installing the new release. So in regard to training materials, 2 to 3 months. In regard to the certification exams, it seems to me to be almost about 6 months.
Okay.
And I say that just, Mark, just to share with the audience, that's an area we've had some experience in because we actually wrote some of the certification exams for HP for a previous version. And the target there was within 4 to 6 months after the version for which we were writing the exam for was released.
Excellent. Thanks, Bob.
Sure.
Another one real quick, just off the top of my head, and then we'll go back to a couple more of these other ones. In your opinion, is it possible for somebody to be successful in passing the certification exams if they haven't necessarily taken any of the official training classes? What's your take on that?
I have seen a number of individuals pass the certification exams without taking the training. I would say that their preparation definitely got off to a slower start, but what helped them was that those individuals were utilizing those solutions in a very robust environment, encountering a lot of unique and different scenarios, which helped improve their skill set. What they lacked in training, classroom training, they made up for in experience with the solution marks. So it can be done, sure.
Great, excellent, thank you. All right, here's one that I'll ask, although I don't know how much you'll know the answer to this one, Bob, and even I as a Vivid board member, we just barely got started talking about this, but maybe you know something as a partner. Will they be offering any of the exams at HP Discover this year? Any of the certification exams like they've done in the past?
It's my understanding that they do plan on offering the ATP exams, the test. I'm not too sure about the ASE exams. I would have to check on that. They don't always do it at Discover, just because it is a 3-hour exam. There's a lot going on. It's hard for individuals to focus and whatnot. But I do believe that they plan on offering the ATP test exams out at Discover. And then another thing which I want to remind everybody on, please be on the lookout for the Vivid Deep Dive sessions. Those are some customized partner-developed trainings offered by partners in partnership with Vivid, and it's provided the day before HP Discover, and it's some excellent training. So be on the lookout for that. And those are the types of things you're going to have instructors that are certified, and you can pick their brains more on the certification process.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point, Bob. And folks, just to follow up on that a little bit, if you have any questions about that program, you can contact me, and because as the education chair on the board, I'm responsible for helping coordinate that whole deep dive training sessions in conjunction with Discover. So as we continue to build our plans and get some things lined up, I'll be communicating that stuff out through Vivid newsletters and so forth. But also, just to add to that a little bit, down in the future, we're going to also try to offer deep dive sessions in conjunction with local Vivid chapter meetings as well. We're still working out the details on how that'll all work and which chapters to pilot that program with, but that's something to be kind of keeping in the back of your mind as well. Okay, a couple more here because we still have a few minutes. We can ask a few more. Here's one, and actually this is a good one because it's kind of the product that, while it's heavily used, it doesn't seem to get as much attention, at least in my knowledge of the training materials and certifications and so forth. HPPPM. There's a person that writes, I'm a HPPPM consultant/expert. I'm also a certified HP professional on HP/UX. How can I become an authorized partner with HP as a trainer?
So that would be something. Now, I didn't check for this specifically, but I'm pretty sure that on the HP Software Education website, there is a link somewhere there where you can inquire about becoming an authorized training partner. Now, and one of the things to the individual that asked that question, and I don't want this to sound wrong, but to be an authorized training partner, HP typically does ask or require that that you be of a certain sized organization, as opposed to an independent consultant. But definitely something to check into. Even if you don't become an authorized training partner, if they have your name and know you and get to know you, then who knows, they may look at developing a partnership with you and utilizing you for some of their training initiatives.
Great. There's a couple that are similar questions, so I'll kind of combine them. It revolves around the cost of the exams. How much? Where did it go here? Oh, what is the average cost of an ASE exam? And they cite the example of ALM/QTP, but it's kind of a general question. And another audience member had a similar question: how much do you charge for ASE/ATP certification? So, do you have any information, Bob, with regards to cost on any of these things?
So by all means, always check the HP Education website, but for the ATP exams, if my memory serves me correctly, it's about $595. And then for the ASE exam, if I'm not mistaken, it's around $1,200. But again, truly well worth it, because of the value they can provide you in regard to the evolution of your expertise and career.
Okay, great. And on a follow-up to that question, it was asked if you had, say you took one of the exams and you didn't pass, is the cost to retake the exam the same? So you're paying the same cost each time, or is there like a retake fee that's maybe a little less, or what? How does that work?
No, actually there's a retake period. So I mean, if you retake it within, I want to say 3 months, there's no charge. If you retake it after that, then there is a full charge.
And how many attempts do you get total before they make you wait a while, or is that kind of not specified?
I don't know on that one. I mean, I've known individuals that have taken it, 3 and 4 times, but I don't know if there was any point where HP said, okay, you've taken it 3 times in the past 3 months, you're going to have to wait 6 months. I believe that there is, but I'm not sure what the point is for that, Mark. I'm making a note to check on this, though.
Well, assuming this information is correct that came in, one of your top employees and one of my fellow board members is saying after the first retake, they may make you wait at least 3 months. And that's from David. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Good man. And he said, and David would absolutely know. So he said that there's a waiting period of 3 months after the first retake, right?
Yes.
So you're allowed to take it, then you can retake it again as quickly as you want, and then if you fail the second time, then they're going to make you wait 3 months. That sounds right. Thank you, David.
Excellent. There's a couple other here, folks, related to a couple that are similar, related to where to go to get the recording after. The way I believe it works is, because I'm usually the moderator as opposed to the recipient of these things, but I believe how it works is that all of you will, within a few days, get an email saying, thanks for participating, or even the folks that didn't show up today that actually registered. And it'll give you a link to where the webinar content is stored, the recording and so forth. And the questions that may not have been addressed could also be listed out there at that time as well. Trying to see if there's any ones that have come in that we didn't cover. Oh, here's one. Oh, actually, they corrected themselves and said, never mind. It was about piercing. But then mentioned that never mind on that. Let's see. Is there anything being developed specifically around Agile Manager or mobility testing applications that you're aware of, training or certification point of view?
It's my understanding on Agile Manager that the answer is yes, that there is something being developed in regard to training materials. That's what I've heard. I don't know of anything being developed as far as a certification exam goes. And then on mobile testing, not that I've heard, no. And that would be that would be the perfect question, to be honest. To feel free to send to one of those email addresses that I had shared previously on the screen directly to HP. I do my best to try to keep up with what HP is planning down the road. But this business is so dynamic that things can change day to day.
Okay. And then we have time for one more before we wrap up. Do you know of any training specific to HP Service Manager 9.31?
So definitely on HP Service Manager, on the specific version, I don't know. It would definitely say that on the HP Software Education site. Another thing on the site, they're excellent at indicating what is coming down the road. So if that specific version of Service Manager, if there's not training available, but it's in development, then you'll see an icon, a note that says in development. And usually once you see that, it's released within 2 to 3 months typically.
Okay. Well, great. Folks, we're just about out of time, so any questions that we didn't address, although I'm reasonably confident we got through all of them, we'll get you those answers out. And as I said at the outset, we will make this recording available for down the road for you to revisit. I want to thank Bob for presenting to us today. Great information for those of you that want to learn more about these solutions and eventually go on to potentially get certified. As it said during that one poll question, I think 74% or so haven't taken an ASE exam yet. This is all stuff that will help get us down that road. So thank you, Bob. Thank you, audience, for your participation. Be sure to check us out next time, and if you haven't already done so, definitely register for the HP Software Education Special Interest Group that's out there under the SIGs section of the Vivid website. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mark. Bye, everyone.